Did you know that some fruits that seem harmless, even healthy, may actually be accelerating the aging of your brain? You may consume them every day, believing you are doing the best for your body, but they may be silently damaging your memory, mental clarity, and even your autonomy. It's hard to imagine, isn't it, that something so simple, so present in our routine, can influence the way we think, remember, and feel so much. I am Dr. Soffia Martin, a specialist in brain health and healthy aging, and for over 20 years I have been helping people keep their minds active, their memory strong, and their emotional balance over time. I have treated hundreds of patients who, without realizing it, were feeding their own forgetfulness. Before we continue, I want to extend a special invitation to you. Now tell me here in the comments which city or country you are watching me from. I love to know how far this message reaches. And take the opportunity to share this video with someone you love who also needs to take care of their health. What I'm going to show you today is something that almost no one talks about, but that can profoundly change the future of your mind. Over the years, I've seen people lose precious memories, believing it was a sign of aging, when in fact, their bodies were just crying out for help. Small lapses, confusion, difficulty remembering someone's name or where you left your glasses. All of these can be silent signs that something in your diet is overloading your brain. The good news is that science already knows what's behind it. Certain fruits, when consumed in the wrong way, increase brain inflammation and accelerate the aging of nerve cells. Others, however, act as true protective shields, strengthening memory and slowing the progression of dementia. The difference between a lucid brain and one that fades over time may literally be in what you put on your plate every morning. In the next few minutes, you will understand why some fruits considered healthy may be harming your brain, and which ones science has proven to protect memory and maintain lucidity even after the age of 60. Often, what harms our brain the most is not what we do consciously, but what we repeat on autopilot. We wake up in a hurry, drink our coffee without even tasting it, eat whatever is closest at hand, and go about our day dealing with 1,000 things. Work, family, bills, worries. And when our bodies start to show small signs, we choose to ignore them. It's just fatigue, we think. It's age. But in reality, our brains are asking for help. I see this every day. People come to my office saying they are a little more forgetful, that sometimes they walk into a room and can't remember what they were going to do, or that their mind gets cloudy in the middle of the afternoon, leaving them with no energy to think. These are small lapses that seem normal, but over time, they become more frequent. It's like a gear that starts to jam slowly, silently, until one day it no longer turns as smoothly as before. These signs don't appear overnight. They are the result of years of hasty choices, poor sleep, and quick meals, without paying attention to what we actually put on our plates. The brain, which is the most sensitive organ in our body, suffers when we fail to nourish not only the body, but also the mind. And the most curious thing is that it tries to warn us, with forgetfulness, with mood swings, with a feeling of mental confusion. But we rarely stop to listen. I know that modern life is not easy. We all have responsibilities, and often taking care of ourselves seems like a luxury. However, when we ignore these small warnings, we are pushing the problem to later, and the price can be high. What seems like just a slower day may actually be the beginning of a process of brain wear and tear that could be avoided. That's why I always tell my patients, the body speaks, the brain whispers. And if we learn to listen to those whispers before they become screams, we can avoid a lot of suffering. Because there is a reason for the mental fog that many people feel, and it's closer and simpler than most people imagine. What many people don't realize is that inside our bodies, every cell in the brain lives in a delicate balance. It's as if there were an invisible orchestra playing nonstop, and every food we put on our plate is a note that can maintain harmony or cause a noise that throws off the whole melody. When we make poor food choices, especially after the age of 60, this symphony begins to go out of tune. The connections between neurons, which should transmit information clearly and quickly, become slow and confused, as if a fog had formed between thoughts. Our brain is made up of billions of cells that need constant energy to function. And this energy comes mainly from glucose, the natural sugar that the body obtains from food. The problem is that when this glucose arrives in excess, what was food becomes overload. It's like putting too much fuel in a delicate engine. It starts to overheat, rust inside, and lose power. This internal smoke is what science calls inflammation, and it mainly affects the most important areas of the brain, such as the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and learning. But here's the point that almost no one talks about. This inflammation doesn't hurt, it doesn't burn, it doesn't warn you. It acts silently, gradually eroding mental clarity, reasoning, and even mood. And the curious thing is that it can all start with something as simple as the overripe fruit you eat for breakfast. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, after eating something very sweet, you get that feeling of tiredness, of a heavy mind, as if your body had shut down for a few minutes? This is no coincidence. It is the brain trying to protect itself from excess sugar in the blood, temporarily closing some doors to prevent further damage. Meanwhile, brain cells struggle to balance what they receive. Part of the energy becomes fuel, but the excess turns into free radicals, small particles that oxidize and age neural tissue. It's as if we rust from the inside without realizing it. Gradually, the brain stops producing essential neurotransmitters, such as dopamine and acetylcholine, which are responsible for motivation, concentration, and memory. And this is where the body starts to ask for help. You forget where you put your keys, lose track of the conversation, feel a mental fog that wasn't there before. And the most surprising thing is that this doesn't happen by chance. It's a direct reflection of what we put on our plates every day. Now you may begin to understand why some people keep their minds sharp even in old age, while others feel confused and exhausted over time. The difference is not only in genetics, but in what feeds the brain silently every day. By understanding this process, I began to observe something in my own patients. For years, I saw patterns repeating themselves. People who came to the office tired, forgetful, believing they were just getting older. But all it took was a few small adjustments to their diet for something to change profoundly within weeks. I remember Carmen, 72, well. She said her mind felt foggy, that she forgot simple names and felt as if her thoughts were slow to reach her reasoning. We discovered that every morning she drank a large glass of natural grape juice, believing she was doing the best for her health. The problem was that this juice, even without added sugar, contained almost the same amount of glucose as a regular soft drink. When she replaced the drink with low glycemic fruits and included light proteins in her breakfast, something surprising happened. In less than a month, Carmen told me that she felt her head wake up faster. It was as if her brain had started breathing again. Another striking case was that of Manuel, 68, an active man, but constantly fatigued and with memory lapses that frightened him. He ate large portions of mango and papaya every day, believing that fruit could never be bad for him. When we adjusted his routine and he began to include apples with the skin on, nuts, and small portions of cherries, his tests showed an improvement in glucose control, and, more importantly, he reported mental clarity and good humor. Manuel used to say, "I feel like I'm back to being myself." These changes may seem simple, but they reflect what science has confirmed in recent years. Research from Harvard University and the World Health Organization indicates that up to 40% of dementia cases could be prevented with lifestyle adjustments, and proper nutrition is one of the most powerful pillars of this prevention. Studies show that diets rich in antioxidant fruits, such as blueberries, oranges, and pomegranates, reduce brain inflammation and strengthen connections between neurons. What once seemed like mere medical intuition now has a solid foundation. The brain feeds on everything the body consumes and reacts to every choice, every spoonful, as if listening attentively to what you are telling it. And when you start treating it with care and awareness, it responds with clarity, energy, and a lively memory. What seemed like a minor detail turned out to be one of the biggest keys to preserving not only the brain, but the very essence of who we are. Once you understand all this, it becomes clearer why so many people feel mentally tired, even when they believe they are leading a healthy life. The brain is not an isolated machine. It is the mirror of everything we experience, feel, and choose. Every meal, every sleepless night, every anxious thought or excess of sugar is a small message sent to our cells. Some messages strengthen, others weaken. And over the years, the body begins to respond to this silent dialogue between reason and emotion. It's not just about what we eat, it's about how we live. Poor sleep, for example, isn't just tiredness. It's the brain not having had time to repair itself, to clear the toxins that accumulate while we think, feel, and remember. The forgetfulness that many treat as normal for age is, in many cases, the result of an overloaded, inflamed nervous system lacking true nutrition. When the fuel is wrong, the mind loses its sparkle, and with it, we also lose a piece of our autonomy, our history, our presence in the world. Science explains it, but life confirms it. I have seen eyes shine again when people start to take care of themselves consciously. I have seen lucidity return where before there was confusion, because when the brain is well nourished and respected, it responds with gratitude. It wants to live, it wants to remember, it wants to feel. And that is a power that remains within each of us, even after 60, 70, 80. Every small choice, what you eat when you wake up, what you decide to have for dinner, the time you devote to rest, can be an investment or a risk for tomorrow. And the most beautiful thing is that it's never too late to start over. No matter what has happened, the body still knows how to regenerate itself. The mind can still find its way back to clarity. Now that you understand what really happens inside the brain and how every daily gesture affects it, I want you to imagine what it would be like to wake up feeling light, with clear thinking and a vivid memory. Imagine feeling that your mind is with you again, without confusion, without fear of forgetting what matters. That's exactly what I'm going to show you next. How to turn this knowledge into concrete action and start protecting your brain today. Now that you understand why this happens, let's talk about what can be done starting today. Taking care of your brain doesn't require complicated formulas or drastic changes. It requires presence, consistency, and kindness to yourself. The first step is to look at what goes on your plate every morning. Give preference to fruits that nourish without overloading, such as apples with peel, blueberries, fresh oranges, pomegranates, and cherries. They help reduce brain inflammation and balance blood sugar. Avoid consuming very ripe fruits or concentrated juice, as excess glucose is one of the greatest enemies of a clear mind. Start slowly. It's not about eliminating the pleasure of eating, but about reconnecting with what is really good for you. When you eat, take a deep breath and choose consciously. This simple gesture already changes your body's chemistry. Try to include light proteins and fiber, along with fruit, such as plain yogurt, oats, or seeds. This slows down sugar absorption and protects brain cells. And remember, staying well hydrated and getting quality sleep are part of this same care. The brain needs sleep and water as much as it needs food. It's also important to keep your mind active. Read, learn something new, walk outdoors, talk to loved ones. Each new experience stimulates neural connections and strengthens cognitive reserve. It's like exercising an invisible muscle that sustains who we are. Do the best you can within your reality. There is no such thing as perfection. There is progress. The body responds when it is cared for with patience, and the brain appreciates every little gesture. These simple actions, repeated day after day, are like invisible seeds that shape the future. Every balanced meal, every good night's sleep, every moment of calm is a silent message of love to your own body. The future begins with these gestures we make when no one is watching. Now tell me here in the comments which city or country you are watching me from. I like to know how far this message reaches. And if this content helped you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you love. That way, more people can learn to take better care of their health. Because taking care of the brain is ultimately taking care of what makes us human: our memory, our presence, and our capacity to love.